Hello again. I got a story. There were two very close friends, lived next door to each other, and they both loved the Caribbean. They would read pamphlets on it, they would watch shows about it, and they just longed to visit the Caribbean, or maybe even live there. One day, both people got word that a wealthy man was going to buy them both tickets to the Caribbean. He was even going to send them a limo to take them to the airport so they could fly to the Caribbean. He had a beach house for each of them there and said, you can live there as long as you want. This was heaven to them, and they were both so excited and rejoiced. They just told everybody about it. I'm going to the Caribbean. And the man also said, tell your friends so that they can join you there too, because I've got enough houses for everybody down there. Excuse me. But you better be ready when that limo gets there, because he's only going to sit there for a couple of minutes. You bring out your luggage, you put it in there, and we'll take you. I think most of you already know where this is going. Well, needless to say, both friends were ecstatic. They got their luggage out. They started throwing clothes in there. And they were telling everybody they could tell about it. And they said, do you love the Caribbean? Well, yeah, I love it. Well, you want to live there? Sure, I'd love to live there. Well, do this and be at our house, or be at this place, and the limo will take you. So they're telling everybody about it. But only one of the friends kept packing his suitcase. Only one of the friends was putting a hold on his mail or forwarding his mail. Only one of the friends put his house up for sale. Had a big yard sale to sell off all his belongings. And as he was doing it, as he was divorcing himself from everything of his life so he could have this idyllic life in the Caribbean, he was telling everybody who came to him about it. The other friend was every occasion when he got a chance, he'd throw something in a suitcase, or he'd put something on Craigslist or in a newspaper and sell an item. But I got to keep my car in case I have to run to the store for food. I've got to keep this in my house so I can have a place to live till I go to the Caribbean. I've got to keep this. I got to have that. But he was telling everybody about the great promise of that he was going to go to the Caribbean and live there for the rest of his life. Neither one of them knew when that limousine was going to show up, because the rich man, the wealthy man, told him, hey, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but when it does, I will send them for you. And I will be driving the limousine myself to assure that you get there. Well, suddenly one day came. The one friend was just closed escrow on his house. The house, and the new people were moving in. He had sold all his stuff. His suitcases were all packed, sitting in the front yard. The other man was standing there, and there were a lot of people around them with their suitcases who had done the same thing with the first friend. But there were a lot of people standing around laughing and cheering about going as well, including the second friend who hadn't made the proper preparations. And then suddenly the limousine pulled up, the wealthy man inside the limousine, and he started honking his horn. Well, the first friend, he ran the limousine, threw his luggage in there. All the people that were with him ran in, threw the luggage in there. And the other friend says, hey, wait a minute, I got to put my house up for sale. Let me get this stuff out of here. I'm almost ready to go. And the wealthy man says, hey, I got to get you to the airport. The plane's leaving, and I cannot be late. Otherwise, nobody's going to go. And he left. And the second friend cried and lamented and screamed after the limousine, come back, come back. But he wasn't ready. Even though he believed in the promise, even though he told everybody about the promise, even though he was excited about the promise, he still clung to those things that were important to him. And he didn't go. And he was left alone, angry, frustrated, and sad. Are we that friend? Are we the good friend who got ready, or are we the friend who was so excited and wanted to tell everybody else but never did anything in our own lives to prepare? That's the parable of the foolish virgins and the wise virgins. And if anyone thinks, I'm saved, I'm excited, I go to church, I got baptized, I trust in God, I'm preaching the word, I'm doing everything he says, but they're not preparing themselves, but they're going to still be saved. Think about that. Think about the parable of the foolish virgins and wise virgins. Think about the story I just said. I had one individual I heard once say, well, in the parable of the virgins, they just weren't invited to wedding feasts. It didn't say anything about them not going to be in heaven. What do you think the wedding feast was? The celebration of our union with God in heaven. And if you're not invited in, I don't care how much you believe and call on his name, he's going to say, I never knew you. Until next time, God bless.